Hello, welcome to Korean Grammar Breakdown. This is episode 29. When you go to Busan, try pork soup or raw fish. Our vocabulary: Busan, obviously a noun, city in South Korea by the sea. Gada, active verb go. Ulde, bound noun sequence, the time when. Okay. Dwaeji gukbap here is a pork, kind of a pork soup served with rice. The rice is usually served on the side, but you can kind of mix it in if you want. And then ina is basically a conjunction used for nouns. Sometimes it's called a particle, but it's only for nouns. There's another or, but if you want to make for verb clauses, there's another or used, but this is just for nouns. Hue, noun, that means sliced raw fish or sashimi in Japanese or English. Mokda, eat, and aboda is an auxiliary pattern. The auxiliary verb boda means try, sample, test out. And normally boda means to see, right? So, but as with some other ones in Korean, as an auxiliary verb, the meaning changes. This was really confusing to me when I first started because it's seen in boda is used a lot because the word see is used a lot, but it's also used an equally large amount of time in this way, and it's not always obvious that it's an auxiliary pattern, and it's a little hard to keep straight, but obviously see and try are pretty different types of things. Anyway, I guess you could see it as like see if or see if you like it kind of thing, but it's not really the same. So let's see. And this time, I think everything here is from native Korean. There's nothing Chinese. This is purely Korean stuff here. Day, in this bound noun sequence, day means time, basically. It's also sometimes attached to nouns. You can make things like breakfast time, lunchtime, springtime, and so on. But in this case, it's used with a verb in the future. Yet another future abnominal form of a verb. So it's kind of saying like when you do something, when referring to the future. But actually, in this case, it doesn't always refer to the future. In this case, you can make a sentence using ulde that talks about the present, or kind of like the present, and certainly about the past. It's really just means the time whenever that might be, and it's a little hard to understand, but that's how that works. So our base sentence here, Busan A is, again, I'm not even going to list it as vocabulary anymore because it's just so common, and it means basically two in this case. And then gata plus ulde gives us galde. Okay. Dwaeji gukbap ina, there's or, right? And there, note the spacing here. There's no space. It's attached directly to the noun, the first noun. Okay. Where on the other hand, there's a space between an ulde, and there's a space here, right? So people make a lot of mistakes. Even natives often make mistakes with spacing in Korean. But I'm going to try to give you guys what the generally seen as correct spacing. Even though other books don't always show these kind of spaces, and there's some argument about it. But anyway, and then hui were the object. So this object is referring. So you're basically the combination of the two nouns is the object, because you have ina. If you had an and or a nor conjunction in there, there's a few different ones. Still, because they're combined, you only need one object marker, okay? And then mokda plus a boda plus a for an intimate style ending. Now, this a, I think it was episode 14 where we really broke down the a form. This means anytime you see this with a pattern or whatever, it means to put the verb into a form, which doesn't always mean add a. It could mean add ya or a, as you've learned. Or if not, you should go back and look at that episode closely. This is pretty fundamental, but it's always going to be listed in grammar books and in most websites and everything as a boda, even though sometimes it's a or ya. Okay, and there's a bunch of other grammar forms. I mean, I don't know, a lot of them. And this is how they always list it. So don't get confused. Don't feel that it's because it shows a, it's always a, because it's not. Okay, so and this part all sums out to be maka ba with a space. Maga ba. The da drops, the a and boda, and this da drops. And you notice boda plus this combines, as we talked about in episode 14. There's a chart there, which again you should go back and just print that whole thing out if you don't have another source. This combination of bo and a always 100% of the time is combined to boa. It's never bo a, it's boa. It's a rule. So this is our intermittent style sentence. Busane galde dweji gukbap ina herer maga boa. When you go to Busan, try eating. You could, but in English we usually just say try, right? Pork soup or raw fish, okay? And yeah, and with this, with ina, the e, like with everything else in Korean, in most cases, the e would fall out if this was ending with a vowel. Like if it was just dweji, it would be, instead of dweji guk, it would be dweji na, because, right? So, yeah. And again, this is intimate style. And as you know, you should know, if you add yo to this, it becomes polite. Okay? Now, a note about dweji gukbap. Coming from native Korean, dweji means pig. Okay, so here you're learning a new word. Dweji means pig. Guk means soup, and bap means cooked rice. Okay, so this is a combination of those three. It's basically pig soup with cooked rice on the side that people mix in with it. It's served in a very heavy heavy clay pot. Most of them, it's like a pot, small pot. And with anyway, you can read this, and it's very famous in Busan. It's one of Busan's signature dishes. It's kind of simple and nothing. It doesn't seem like a super special dish, but Busan people, are proud of it, and it's really good for hangovers. Or if you've been drinking, there's a few foods in Korean that, if you've been drinking for several hours, before you go home, a lot of times people will go and eat dweji gukbap or haejanguk or makchan. There's certain foods that help the body digest alcohol, kind of absorb or negate the effects of it, and that's it. So, and I thought I'd leave you guys. These guys are probably going to need some dweji gukbap here. As you can see, they've been drinking. The cool hats they have, and so on. I thought I would just end that with that. So anyway, have a good day. Bye.